Hey guys, it's Kay from KS Anonymous, and I am back today with another episode of r/AITA, or r/Am I the A-hole? AITA for making my apartment smell like poop. My roommate is a slob, and I'm a neat freak. Prior to her moving in, I wasn't aware of this. I had done my due diligence in setting clear boundaries and making sure we were on the same page when it came to cleanliness around the apartment. She assured me there would be no problems and that she takes cleanliness very seriously as well. For the past month, she's been leaving her dirty gym shoes in the front hall. Normally, I wouldn't have a problem with this. It's a shared space after all, but her shoes smell like an animal died in them. I don't think it's fair to subject your roommates to unpleasant smells. I've asked her multiple times over the course of the month to either keep the shoes in her room, clean them, get a new pair, or to just ensure in some way, shape, or form that they don't stink up our entire apartment. I've even texted her some life hacks that she can use to deodorize her shoes. She has blatantly been ignoring my requests, despite telling me that she'll take care of it. They smell horrible, so I'm assuming that's why she hasn't bothered keeping them in her room. She knows how rancid they are. My friends have stopped coming over while my roommate is at home because they can't deal with the smell either. Unless I stay in my room with a heavily scented candle, I can't stand staying in my own apartment. I made a post a while ago where I posed the question of throwing her shoes out the window. Everyone clearly noted I would be the a-hole, so I decided not to mess with her property. A lot of people mentioned putting them in a bag or dealing with them some other way. However, I didn't think this was a viable option because that would just enable her to do whatever she pleases because she knows I'll end up dealing with it my own way in the end while she gets away scot-free. I ordered a poop spray from Amazon and a pair of slippers. I proceeded to spray nearly half the bottle on the pair of slippers until they smelled just as rancid as my roommate's gym shoes. I left them in the front hall right next to her shoes. Sure enough, when she came out of her room to go to the gym, she noticed the horrible smell and banged on my door to get rid of them. I've decided to just leave them there to give her a taste of her own medicine. AITA? Edit, for everyone telling me to put her nasty shoes in her room myself, I can't do that because we keep our rooms locked. I'm guessing she doesn't want to keep them in her room because she knows how horrible they smell. Yeah, okay, so I really do think that she has to know. She has to know. You've talked to her about it, you've given her suggestions, and she won't put them in her own room. She knows how bad her shoes smell. I suppose, like, it's... It's just more like a petty revenge kind of situation. I don't think it makes you an a-hole. I would just remove it if she starts taking care of her shoes. That's just my personal advice. AITA for being upset because my son didn't talk to me but talked to my wife. I'm 40 male, my wife is 39 female, son is 15. Yesterday, when it was dinner time, I called him to come downstairs a few times. He didn't answer me, so I assumed that he didn't hear me. I went upstairs and knocked on his door. He said he'd come downstairs in a few minutes. After 15 minutes, he still didn't come downstairs, so I walked in his room. I knocked first. He was obviously crying. I asked him what was wrong, but he didn't answer me, so I didn't push him more. I went downstairs and told my wife about it. She went upstairs to talk to him and stayed there for half an hour. She came back and brought him food upstairs. When I asked her what was wrong, she said it wasn't anything important and told me to drop it. I got kind of upset because I want to know what was wrong and I'm his parent as well. I haven't been fully ignoring them, but I've been acting kinda distant since yesterday. My wife got mad and said that I was acting extremely immature. Yeah, I'm gonna have to side with your wife on that one. I do think you're kind of being an a-hole. I think it is frustrating when you want someone to be able to confide in you that's important to you and they don't. And, you know, maybe that trust isn't there or they don't feel comfortable or whatever. But but you're never going to get that kind of trust when you're going to treat them like crap because basically you didn't get your way in like the weirdest way possible. So yeah, you are being childish, and it's probably the kind of thing that makes your son not want to confide in you. AITA for not telling my girlfriend my parents passed down some of their wealth. Throwaway. I come from a well-off family from a small town. A lot of people there know my family. Not extremely rich, but let's say if my parents were to pass, me and my children would never have to work again and could live very comfortable lives. My parents already passed down some assets to me. My girlfriend didn't know about this. We've been together for a year and I haven't told her any of this. Due to past experiences with gold digger friends and girlfriends, I'm very private about it. Only a few select people know. My girlfriend comes from a complete opposite family from another town, a single mom that struggled to raise her. Anyway, yesterday my sister kinda spilled the beans. She asked me when I was joining the family business by building a home on the property my parents gave me. My girlfriend overheard and asked me why I didn't tell her about this. In particular because we have been talking about moving in together recently. A few days passed and she's still kinda distant towards me. She doesn't want to tell me why. She says everything's fine, but I'm pretty sure it's over this. I'm not sure how my girlfriend feels. AITA? I feel like he has every right to not share that kind of information, especially because, like he said, people who come from money or have money tend to have to deal with people who try to scam them, who just want them for their money, who suddenly find out about their money, and that's what everything becomes about. Like, it could be a good relationship to begin with, and then they find out about the money and they become kind of like a different person, and that's just the reality, unfortunately. Yeah, they talked about moving in together, but I wouldn't be offended if I didn't know about every little property or every little bank account or whatever of a boyfriend. If he was married to you, that's a whole nother thing. If you guys were married and he had never said anything, that would be a problem. But to be upset because this guy didn't mention to her that he has some extra property or some assets, like, honestly, that's really not relevant. Until they're actually committed to each other for the long term, I don't think it's relevant. So I don't think he's the a-hole here. What are your thoughts on this? Would I be the a-hole for not picking up my wife and kids so I can enjoy my time alone? This is happening today if it matters. My wife works a 9 to 5 and I work at home. I'm also a stay-at-home dad technically because while I'm working, I contend with our children, 4-year-old female and 1-year-old female. My wife makes about 25% more than me per year because my work is contract-based, not salaried, so some days I work, some days I just hang out with our kids. And when I do work, it's never I need to be doing this at this time. It's all around deadlines. So I can work while watching the kids at my own pace. It's a system that's odd, but it works for us. I only mention all of this because I spend more time with the kids and almost never have time away from them for myself. 3 or 4 times a year, my wife uses her PTO to visit her parents with our children. They live about 5 hours away and I always make the drive. Sometimes I join them, but it's usually I drive them, come home, then a few days later go pick them up. We live in a city, but her parents are in more of a rural place. But they also live in a mansion compared to us. Tennis court, in-home theater, big in-ground swimming pool, parks aplenty around. It's really fun and therapeutic for my wife and children when they go because I'll admit it's very relaxing. Yesterday, I made that 10-hour round trip and dropped them off, looking forward to 3 days of being alone. I'm caught up on work, gardening, house maintenance, so these next 3 days are purely for me to relax. I can play my violin, which is rare because we have a 1-year-old, play video games, go see a movie. I have a little itinerary planned like I usually do. This is the time I can recharge. But I got a text while I was asleep last night saying that our eldest, 4 female, is not having fun, being a sourpuss, being a grumpy gills, that she has to stay there and wants to come home. My wife decides that they should all come home and honestly, I just want my free time. I don't want my kids to associate my parents-in-law's house with negativity, but this is unfair to me to literally drive for 10 hours, sleep for 5 hours, and then have to make another 10-hour drive. I told my wife to suck it up and she'll come around. She's just expressing immediate homesickness and will turn around. This has happened before, just not at this level. Our daughter is having tantrums, etc., which is new, but I still want to wait it out. Obviously, I haven't said yes or no, just suggested she wait it out, but I want to know if I'm being the a-hole before making a final judgment. I'll probably relent, but still upset that this is unfair because I haven't had free time alone in months. So, would I be the a-hole? The way the title was phrased definitely made it sound like this was going to be like, yeah, you kind of are, but with the explanation of the whole situation, it kind of sounds like this is just kind of your guys' routine and kind of what you guys do to give each other like time away, and she gets to have a great time with her family. You get your alone time, and normally you are basically a stay-at-home dad. And quite frankly, to be like, oh, she's mad because she's here, like, I mean, I would definitely make sure that there's not something else going on there, but other than that, quite frankly, it's just like, if you were to go on a vacation and your kid was like, I don't want to be here, would you fly back home and end your vacation? No. So, unless if there's something seriously bad going on, I would refuse to pick them up. That sounds bad, but that's what I would do. Would that be an a-hole move? I don't think so, but I value alone time though, so that might be part of it. Anyway, that story is actually going to wrap it up for this video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and drop a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments below if these people are a-holes or if they are not, and all of that jazz. Real quick, I'd like to thank my patrons. Up on the screen, you should see my face palmers and my crazy K's. Thank you all so much for being amazing and supporting me in this way. If you're interested in becoming a patron, there's information in the description box and on the end screen. And if you would like to submit a story for being possibly included in a future video, you can send it to ksanonymous@gmail.com. I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!